It's safe to say at this point in time, especially with United States politics and media narratives, that if you have an extreme political opinion, or really if you have a strong opinion about anything, by definition, you're a loser. Nobody's thinking for themselves. They just wake up every day and spin every article, spin every media story, spin whatever someone says to what, if it's against what their core belief is, those people are idiots. Everyone's trying to do a little bit of virtue signaling by way of politics, judging other people. How dare they think this? How dare they think that? When the truth is, both sides are losers. They're all wrong about everything. If you really just look at each person and rewind the tape generation after generation after generation, everybody is who you would expect them to be. If you're born in Iowa, you're more likely to be a farmer than if you were born in Manhattan, New York, or Los Angeles. If you're born in LA, you're more likely to be in the entertainment industry. If you're born in New York City, it goes on, and you just there's no individuality. Everyone's kind of who they are because of things that they can't control. Bible Belt people, religious people, they're religious because their parents were religious and their grandparents were religious. People that like to hunt and fish, they like to hunt and fish because their grandpa and their father like to hunt and fish. At this point, it's all pretty boring. And so the new category, which I think a lot of people are quietly establishing, is the new category is you're anti anyone with a strong opinion about anything. Because what the hell do you or anyone else, what does anyone know? Nobody knows anything. We're all just bluffing, going through life anyways. So, it is kind of boring. I don't watch mainstream media hardly at all, but I pick up the narratives by accident. Like if you just check any homepage on the internet, you're going to get some media stories, and you're going to occasionally click on a link and just see what's going on. And if you're listening to the radio while driving, you're going to get some news. But I just don't think that people quite understand how, the people with all these extreme opinions, and they're hating presidents and anti this and just talking terrible things about other people, they wouldn't have the guts to do this if they were in a country that would put you to death for saying that. So that they hide behind the comfort. Let's just say there's 300 some million people in the United States. So let's just say that there's 100 million adults on one side and 100 million on the other, and the other people are too young to have strong opinions, right? But it just seems that you have the comfort of the crowd where you know that you're going to have a lot of people agreeing with you, and therefore you can bash people and bash the other side and bash a political party, bash a former president, bash a current president. And you do that with impunity because you know that people got your back. And I'm just telling you, it's pathetic. It's not courageous. And so I'm basically bashing everyone that has an opinion. And so in some ways, I'm doing the same thing. And I'll kind of admit that by me being anti both sides, I'm kind of falling into the trap of playing in the same game of negativity. But it's more of an observation, I'm not going to get involved. And when you really think about it, just think about this. Let's just say whatever town you live in, whatever city, big or small, in the history of your life, out of all the local news that you've watched on TV, the local media in the newspaper that you've read, and all the national news that you've watched on TV and the national media online or in newspapers that you've read, has anything that you've ever read helped you out in any way? And if you were on your deathbed after living to be 100 years old, do you think you should have spent an extra hour or more time paying attention to the mainstream media or anything? You need to think for yourself and create your own meaning through your own value system instead of what everyone else tells you to be. Another thing is, if you just talk about Republicans and Democrats, like they generally, you have all these issues on the one side, like abortion, anti-abortion, and then immigration, for and against, and they all fall into place. But like, if you were looking at those issues from a fresh perspective, you wouldn't guess that the Republicans would be for certain. You would almost say, well, maybe the Republicans would be for abortion, but they're not. But the reason that the issues just fall in line, so people grow up thinking about all these issues, Republican issues, and Democrat issues, and they don't think for themselves. And when I was younger, I used to think that the worst thing on earth would be like a young Republican, right? So, like someone in high school spouting off about like everything Republican issues, and then as you grow a little bit older, like the worst thing on earth is like the everything goes liberal, you know what I mean? But like, I'm neither Republican nor Democrat. I'm neither conservative nor liberal. But in a way, it's kind of like a boring journey too. Like when you're younger, everything is a good cause, right? Everything goes. But the world needs the checks and balances, especially the United States, that, the boring middle-aged white guy kind of runs things the conservative way, and they get a lot done. But you need the agitators, the young agitators, generally on the liberal side, to keep pushing issues, and because a lot of those issues are correct in the long run, like civil rights. Of course, they've gone too far with the trans issues and the ridiculous, like the male, essentially a male swimmer winning all the college awards, all the college. So it's interesting, but basically, I'm all for a new category of people that think for themselves, and we're declaring everyone with a strong opinion backed up by 100 million boring people on the left or the right. They'd never say this in a country where there were real consequences for their behavior, and so we're just going to call you losers and be done with it.